I was almost at about 200 pounds and, wasn't well, and decided to embark on this weight loss journey. So I ended up losing about 60 pounds through fitness, diet change, all the things that you're supposed to do to become fit and healthy. And it worked. So when I went to do my regular mammogram check, there's absolutely no way you could tell me that I could have a positive test, because I was in peak condition, probably the best condition I've been in my life, most fit. And so I just went in there to do the regular test, and then went about my business, not even worried about what the result would be or anything like that. And only to hear, a couple of days later from my doctor, oh, she got back the results and it's positive for malignancy. And disbelief, that's the only thing I can tell you that I remember from that period, because I just couldn't believe it. So that the long answer to your question is disbelief.
Yes, I would be in the same boat with you, Carla. Sometimes, things happen and we tend to just trying to understand why me at this moment in time, why me?
Right.
And you wanted so much because you were at your peak of your fitness, you were doing your hikes, you were going to the gym, you were eating properly, and just this came onto you and you were like, why me?
Yeah. But then again, Lipton, when some time passed and it sunk in and whatever, I looked at it from a different angle and thought, maybe this is why, because getting it at this point when I was at my peak fitness is what contributed to my survival rate. So, after it had sunk in, and then I started thinking about why me, whatever. And then I thought, but it could have been so much worse. So
that is so true.
That was the point of the utopia.
That is so true. And Gretchen, the question is for you. What was your reaction when you found out that you were diagnosed with cancer?
Well, let's start at the beginning. A few years before, I'd had an incident of spotting, and my doctor checked, nothing. Then about 2 years later, it happened again. My doctor checked, nothing. And then I had a very stressful situation happen. And I noticed spotting at the time. And I said, probably it's the stress. Nonetheless, because I have a medical body knew I got, I went to my friendly doctor and I said, I need to have ultrasound done. So I told them why, and they did it. I got the results from them to take to my doctor. I read it, and it said I should have either a DNC or a biopsy done because there is some thickening noticed. So I put it down. This was August, and I did nothing. And in November, I saw, towards the end of November, I saw another spot, and I said, no, it's time to go. So I went to my doctor, and he said to me, I'm gonna put you to sleep because I really need to get a good specimen why it keeps coming back negative. So he knocked me out in his office, took his specimen, and I went my way and he went his way. And then his office was closed for Christmas. And his wife called me on the 1st of January to tell me that her husband is coming to the office to meet with me on the 2nd. Now, my thinking is the office opens back on the 9th of January. you're not calling to see me on the 2nd of January when your office is closed to tell me that I am cancer-free. So I said, okay. And I went to meet him. And he went back to look at the previous biopsy that had been done. I said, we know what's on that. And I started reading upside down. And I saw it said cancer cells. I said, let's deal with this report. When are we doing the surgery? So he looked at me like, what? I said, I see it says cancer cells, which means cancer cells are there. So when are we doing the surgery? And he sort of looked at me trying to absorb what he just heard coming from me. He said, we have to do the CT scan and some blood works before we can get to that because we need to see how far it is. I said, so write it up. I said, let us agree from now, I'm not doing radiation or chemo. So let's continue. And he looked at me again like, yes, this one mad. So I left him, I called and I made the appointment for the CT scan. I went down and I was able to get an appointment for the same day. The following day, I did the blood works. And when his office reopened, I took it in and I said, no, when are we doing surgery? I was fortunate because it was still contained in the uterus. It has not penetrated outside of the uterus. So, yeah.
That is a story. You know, two different persons, and this is why I like the contrast. You were so determined to just get it done and over with. You know, you dealt with it in a different manner than how Carla dealt with it. Carla was more, you know, to what end? Why is this? But you are just, okay, this happened. He can't be calling me. Let me just get it done and over with. To hell with it, you know?
Yeah.
No.
And I never, ever asked why me, because I'm not a why me person.
Okay.
I look at things. I know everybody reacts differently to situations, the same situation, different reaction.
Correct.
But I'm one who, if I'm presented with something, okay, this happened, how we fix it? And I move on because life is for living.
Awesome. Awesome. Was it difficult, Carla, to share the news with your loved ones and friends?
Yes, especially my immediate family. It was difficult, but I had to do it. And I have to tell you that not just my family, but friends and even people who I didn't know as well. When I shared the news, every single person was supportive. So I felt, I didn't feel reluctant or regret having shared it in any way, because all I got back was support.
Awesome. You know, sometimes support can be overwhelming. Did you feel any of that during that period of time when you're sharing their news or persons hearing about it and consoling you?
I don't think so. I can't think of any particular incident. I think I felt the support more than the overwhelm.
Okay. You're just so subtle about it right now. Gretchen, what about you?
I just told them, I say, guys, we got a little problem here, and this is what's going to happen. And I remember one particular friend, when I said it to her, she said, oh, no, Jay. Oh, I said, stop it. We're not having a pity party. If you want to have a pity party, go down the road and have it, but I'm not coming. So stop it.
In typical Gretchen fashion, right?
Yes.
I wasn't having a pity party. So
yes.
I didn't want it. And then she called me another day and she said, gee, how? I said, I'm upright, moving, and I'm alive. What else you want to ask me? And after that, she stopped.
Okay. I can tell that, you know, I would be afraid to ask you anything too.
Not that
Um, Carla, I won't answer that. I'll go to Carla with the next question.
Go right ahead.
Was there any lifestyle adjustment you had to make during this process?
It depends what part of the process you're talking about, because I didn't stop running. I didn't stop hiking. After the surgery, I was supposed to be taking 6 weeks off of work. In fact, I had 6 weeks leave. I was back there in 3. Everybody asking me why I was back there, but I mean, I felt fine.
Okay.
So I can't think of any major adjustments initially that had to be done. Yeah.
So you were just continuing from what you were doing before.
Right. I mean, maybe slowing down a little bit, but certainly not stopping doing things which I enjoyed doing.
Okay, good. So your lifestyle was just basically live life, love life, and continue with what you were doing.
Yeah, and appreciate what you have.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to come back to you and appreciate what you have. Gretchen, did you have to make any lifestyle change? Come off chocolate?
I still am a chocolate addict. I had to stay the full 6 weeks and a little extra off because I had challenges. I had bad adhesions. So when he went in, it gave him a hard time to find what he was looking for. But it created more adhesions for me.
Okay.
So I ended up back in hospital after I was discharged. And yeah, I had some issues to deal with. I've dealt with them. But and then I went to see a doctor he's a trained oncologist, but he no longer does traditional oncology. He now does alternative.
Okay.
So one of my doctors suggested that I spoke with him, and I went to him, and he had me off of everything basically for a month while he did this oxygen therapy and some other stuff. I lost some weight. I wish I could have kept it off, but that lifestyle, I couldn't live forever.
Is it because you went back to the chocolate? Just curious.
No, I think it's because I went back to just eating normal food. Because that was a very restrictive diet. It's not one that one can maintain.
Yeah, I do understand those diets. I personally don't prescribe to it, but if it is for the moment to help with overcoming, rebuilding back the cells so that you get healthy cells, then go for it. But can you sustain certain changes over time?
It wasn't meant to be a long-term diet. It was meant just for the duration of that treatment program that he was doing.
Okay, awesome. So we have 2 different types of treatment. You did your oxygen, and Carla, you did chemo, correct?
Yes, I did. I couldn't do radiation because the cancer was in the left breast, and I don't radiate near the heart. So I could only do chemo, even though radiation would have been recommended. And by the way, I didn't mention, but it was between stage 0 and 1. So it was also a very early stage when it was discovered.
Okay. So you guys were both lucky. One was a little bit more, I don't know what word to use to describe you.
Mine was a stage 1B.
Okay.
But still contained.
But dealing with it, you see, we have two different spectrum of the coin. You have one who was more telling the doctor what to do, and one was trying to understand and then dealing with with the situation from another perspective. You're trying to dissect it and say, listen, it's happened, and this is where my body is, this is where my mind is, let me just move forward from here. One is like, okay, I'm going to get the nail, I'm going to get the hammer, I'm going to drive it in, and that's it, and go from there. So we have two different spectrum of the coin, which is nice to listen to you ladies talk about this. It's really touching. I hope some of you persons online will, get a feel of how from two different persons, how they deal with it. I'm not asking you to deal with it their way, but your way. Did you ever feel like giving up, Carla?
No.
At any point?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Is it because you had that support system, or is it because you have that zest for living?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay. And say, for argument's sake, you didn't have that kind of support. Would you still have that urge to go on?
Definitely.
Okay.
The support was like the icing on top of the cake.
Oh, wonderful. I hope that support is continuous. Sometimes, we have that support and then it is left in the wayside. But some persons, they will love to have that support continuous as they go on. How about you, Gretchen? Did you ever feel like giving up?
What's that?
Your facial expression alone tells the story. Guys, Gretchen is like the comedian of the family. She is the one that tells this. Of course you are.
No, Gretchen just tells you as it is. That's what Gretchen does.
Right.
I try, but it doesn't work.
What was your...
And when I don't verbalize, my face tells stories on me.
Yes, it does. It does. It does. And I felt those stories many times. What was your motivation to keep fighting, Carla?
Wanting to live.
Yes.
I mean that yeah, definitely that was number one. Yeah. Okay.
And for you, Gretchen?
I never thought I was fighting anything.
Okay.
I was stepping over a hurdle.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That is awesome. Again, two different views. I mean, when I was at my lowest point, one of my things that kept me going was my kids, just looking at them. And they were young. And I had a ritual when I send them off to bed, I'd go and check upon them in the nights. And I'll watch them sleep for about a few minutes and then go off to do the rest of my chores and then go to bed. So every time that I'm at my lowest point, I look at them sleeping. And even now, I visualize them sleeping. And that's my motivation to go on. So, each person have their different. Yours is the zest for living. Yours was just a hurdle, So we all have
which comes from the zest for living.
Yes.
And enjoying life. Life is for enjoying and for living, and you don't stop and say, why me, poor me? What if? Why if? No.
You're not going to achieve anything.
Continue.
But
that doesn't achieve anything at all.
It doesn't. But the human mind, it tends to do things like that. The human mind tends to close off. It's like, I remember Carla used this term, refillable. Did I get it correct?
Yeah, we're talking about the glass.
Yes, the glass.
The glass isn't half full or half empty. It's refillable,
right.
And that's
it's refillable.
That's something a friend of mine had said to me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you have to keep refill that glass, just keep pouring more into it. And your zest for living is what there is. Carla loved to hike, loved to enjoy the outdoors, loved taking beautiful pictures. Gretchen, Yes, she does take awesome pictures. Gretchen, on the other hand, she loves her boat rides and enjoy her life, you know, and her chocolate. So we can't take that away from her.
Actually, I control the chocolate now. If I find I'm eating too much, I just stop and say no chocolate for the next month, and I have no chocolate.
Okay, someone says, keep it real. She loves you.
I love you too, whoever you are.
After getting a clean bill of health from your doctor, how did you, how do you feel, and what was your reaction when the doctor says your cancer has subsided and you're on your way to fast recovery? Carla?
I never actually had that because the lump was so small after I did the surgery and the follow-up chemo and everything. There was never it never came back up. It was removed and it hasn't regrown. Oh. So I never had that moment of it is not there anymore. It was just removed.
It was just removed, and that's it.
And then I do regular checks, and it hasn't recurred.
Okay. And for you, Gretchen?
Like Carla, I never had that moment because it was taken out. It went about its business. My doctor said to me, as my doctor, he needs to suggest that I do radiation. And I said, why? I'm not doing it. So I told you long ago. So let's move on. And that was it. But I never had that moment.
Nice. You know, I remember Denise and Carla that same year were going through. Denise was benign, Carla was cancer. And we did a tribute to them at Reggae Marathon where we wear a nice shirt and said, we're warriors at the back to support their fight against cancer and surviving it. And, you know, it meant so much for for all of us who participated with her. And I think that year I ended up going with you to a few races just to support you.
Yeah,
you know, just being.
I really support us so key, and definitely Lipton, you're one of the biggest supporters. You and Denise, and I can't mention everybody, but Janice, a whole host of people. It's like became my team. But I'm glad you mentioned the Reggae Marathon because having the team wear this shirt in support of us, and it was just amazing. Yes, that's a shirt, Denise. It really was an amazing time. And, you know, something that was brought home to me at that marathon, because I think the cause was for cancer. At that particular marathon that they were raising funds for. Yes. I'm not sure if it was breast cancer or just cancer in general, but we were wearing our shirts and I came across a lady. There's this team that goes there every year. It's usually the largest team, the Reggae Runners. They're from the US, all over the US. And I think they may have had like 400 people come that year. And a lady saw my shirt and she came up to me and she says, are you a survivor? And I said, yes. And, you know, just told her a little bit about me. And she says, you know, I have someone here who is also a survivor. In fact, he's going through, you know, a difficult time and thing. You know, I want you to meet her. And so I met and we talked, very nice lady. She said when she heard my stories, it reminded her of her because she continued her runs and that kind of thing. And it was just nice to speak to somebody and have that connection with somebody who, you know, lives so far away. And about a year ago, one of my friends who lives in Florida sent me a picture and said, you know, this is one of the Reggae Runners and she had breast cancer or whatever, and she died. And it turned out it was the same person.
Wow.
But she, you know, lived her life to the fullest, did what she wanted to do, what she was able to do. And she thinking about her just makes me think, you know, that's how I want to be. I don't want to be somebody who sits back there and woe is me or anything. I want to hopefully inspire people. It's not a death sentence, but what you need to do is make the best of your situation and try and help others who may be going through the same thing to make the best of their situation. So I just thought about that because you mentioned the shirts, and it was because of the shirt where I was connected with this lady.
That's a beautiful story, Carla. You know, we do have those moments where someone touches our lives and give us that drive, that sustainable drive. Sometimes we fall off track just a little bit because of something or another, but then someone else comes in and then give us that drive to push just a little bit faster, just a little bit harder, to get back to our own being, you know. Oh, it's Ingrid Gretchen, the person who said the unconditional love.
Hi, Ingrid.
What about it for you, Gretchen? What after going through and you have passed that hurdle, what has resonated with you, and what would you like to share about your hurdle with cancer?
Okay, well, first of all, I had not mentioned, but I have friends and relatives who were really champions in my support, and I'll be forever grateful to them. I didn't organize anybody. I was just told, okay, this one is coming to the house for this period after you come out of hospital. And when this one leaves, this one is coming. And when this one leaves, this one is coming. I had no say in the matter.
Okay.
Because I live alone. So that was fabulous. But in terms of my way forward, it just reinforced that my appreciation for life and my zeal for happiness, because I remember when I was young and everybody getting married, and my friends would say, "You're not getting married, you don't want to get married." I said, the only thing I want to be in life is to be happy.
And
because
that we
getting
know
married doesn't mean that you're going to be happy.
Well, you have a point there. And
the only thing I wanted to be was to be happy. And every day of my life I get up, all I want is to be happy.
Oh, and Gretchen sends out every morning these lovely quotes, lovely stories, lovely verses. I am encouraging her to start blogging, but she doesn't want to. I think she's beyond blogging, but she should. And Carla does blogging, and she does capture her moments, still moments, and she also does it with her words in her blogs. What is the greatest motivation for you now, Carla, going forward?
I would say living life to the fullest. Wanting to live life to the fullest. And to, if there's anything that I can share that can benefit anybody who went through my situation and make it a little bit easier for them, I want to be able to do that. Which is why I started the blog in the first place. The blog was to share, you know, when my mother was growing up, cancer was not something that you said. You never even mentioned the word. It was, you know, back then you didn't say it. It was taboo, right? You know, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't afraid to talk about it, afraid to share it, because the only thing that could come from it would be positive. Whether positive for me in sharing it, I felt I was doing something to help somebody, or positive for the person with whom I was sharing my experience, that it might make it easier for them.
Nice. And for you, Gretchen?
To continue on my journey to enjoy life to the max, do the things that I find fulfilling, and in whatever way I can to help those who need help, whether it's to get over the hurdle of how to deal with cancer if they have it, or whatever else there is. It might be that they're just depressed about a situation in life, but whatever way I can help to get somebody
Okay. Okay. That is
on the foot
wonderful.
of happiness, to think they should, yeah, I'm good.
That is wonderful. And I know you guys have been doing a lot of that. And, you know, we have touched each other's lives more ways than one, more ways than one. For Carla, seeing her going through her journey and, you know, blossoming into a beautiful flower. She documents her journey, not just with words, but with her stills, and has that zest for living, a continuous zest for living. You always see Carla posting something, and I think one of the things that Carla enjoy is watching the sunrise and the sunsets.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know.
Me too.
I want you to share with me. I know this is not a part of our protocol, but I want you to share with me why sunrise and why sunset is so emotional to you, so being a part of you. Why taking those pictures?
Oh, that's kind of like an easy question. Sunrise symbolizes a new beginning. No matter what has happened the day before or whatever, you have an opportunity to reset and restart, which is what, to me, the sunrise symbolizes. And the sunset is the end of a day, which hopefully is the end of a day, you know, where you have accomplished what you've tried to accomplish, what you need to do. But if it has been a bad day, there's always a sunrise the next day to start again.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Gretchen, I know you like your walks. I know you enjoy your garden, right? Your orchids. Now, you know, tell me what it is about those walks, those being in the garden that helps you along your journey, you know, helps you mentally.
The beauty of the flowers, the beauty of nature. When I look at the colors in the garden, and it brings me back to the fact that the greatest artist is the Lord. He blends colors like no one else can. And it makes me stop and say, thank you, Lord, again and again. I'm happy that I have the privilege that I can have my orchids, I can have my walks. And I keep asking them to give me one more day to do the same thing again. And I also enjoy the sunrise and the sunset because of the same reason. The colors of the sunrise or a sunset are amazing. Nobody can blend that color like the Lord. And he's saying, I'm awesome, and I'm giving you all of this to enjoy. Enjoy life and share it with others. Because not everybody stop and smell the roses, but you can encourage somebody to stop and smell it.
That is so true. And those are beautiful sentiments, ladies. So beautiful. Carla, if you were to tell someone or to share with someone how important it is to keep hope alive and to be the best they can be, what would be your statement to them?
I think it would be that you really have one life to live. And you shouldn't waste it on things which aren't important, things which bring you down, things which take away from your enjoyment of life. and the things that are important to you, your family, your friends. That would be that's what I would say.
Okay, and for you, Gretchen?
Well, first thing, to lose hope is to give up on life. Because if you don't have any hope, then you will not go forward. You'll be sitting down like a bump on a log, and you will be busy reliving whatever it is, whether it's why me, I have to why me, and it does not do any good for you. You cannot afford to lose hope. Hope is the only way forward. And you have to have faith that the Lord is going to take you along that journey. So you hope that when you step next, your foot is going to be on firm ground. It's not going to be down into a quicksand hole. And you just keep moving along that way. You cannot lose hope. It's not an option.
And I totally agree with both of you ladies. If you guys have any question, you can ask it now. We're on the verge of wrapping up. How important is it to have a friend or loved one to go with you to the doctor when getting the results? Carla, you want to take that?
I actually can't. I can't answer that because I didn't go to the doctor to get the results. And the one I could say downside to my story was, and I'm not going to mention the doctor's name, but I actually found out that my test was positive while I was driving one day on the road, and the doctor called and said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sitting down." And she says, "Okay, you have cancer."
That doctor should stop practicing tomorrow morning.
I think I was in shock for
you could have crashed.
Days.
Her bedside manners is lacking.
So, I mean, having a friend then, may have helped a bit, but what would have helped a lot more is if I'd been in an office sitting down hearing this rather than while I was driving on the road.
Yeah, that is sad.
That's sad. Rough.
You know what? One of the things I'm listening to that story. Sometimes you have to look at it from the other person's side of the story also. It could be as difficult for the doctor saying it as it could be difficult for you hearing it.
Sorry, Lipton, I cannot agree with you.
Same here.
I cannot agree with you.
Yes.
She is a professional. She's a doctor, and it's her duty. And it's her duty to ensure that when she's delivering that information, the patient is in a condition and a position to receive it. Yes, Carla was sitting down, but she was behind a steering wheel.
Which I did say. I did say I was driving.
Killed herself.
You did say you were driving.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that makes it even worse. She could have, her foot could have gone straight on the gas pedal. She could have gone into a light post, somebody on the sidewalk, the back of a car. She could have killed herself or somebody. There's absolutely no reason for that. No excuse. I'm sorry. Some things I don't give up on. That's one of them. Carlo, I hope you don't see that doctor ever again in life.
Oh, no, I never went back again.
Okay.
Didn't go back.
And if you know anybody who going to
by the way, the full statement was, you have cancer and you need to go and do surgery right away. That was a full statement.
Oh,
no.
So there was no emotional tie to that statement. Well, I didn't hear the full part of it. I was just trying to go from the surface that you said earlier.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
even if
yeah.
she said to her,
Yeah.
she is sitting down and she didn't hear that she was driving. A telephone is not the place to deliver. My doctor could have delivered that on the telephone. He was on vacation and he came off a vacation to meet with me. That is what a doctor does. You don't collect people's money and then be
nonchalant about the whole situation or trying to be abrupt about it. That was crass.
Don't care.
Yeah.
No.
Has there been any?
I'm sorry, but
that's
I
all
make
right.
no apologies for that.
We all know. We all know, Gretchen.
Yeah.
We all know, and we're not expecting any apologies from you. Has there been any major lifestyle since? Has there been any major lifestyle since your experience? Major lifestyle changes? Is
Who is
there
that directed to Gretchen? Or me?
both? Both, I think. Any lifestyle changes?
None for me.
Okay.
None for me.
I think my lifestyle change was made before, long before my diagnosis. So no new lifestyle changes since then. I haven't changed. I haven't stopped my hiking. I haven't stopped exercising. I mean, maybe I might not be running as much as I used to, but I still run. But in terms of diet, I had already changed my diet and probably can change it a little bit more now. But no, I can't think of any major lifestyle changes since the diagnosis now.
Okay. Well, with eating, you just have to have your fair share of fruits and vegetables and make sure that whatever you're doing is not a packaged food, not processed stuff. So, and even if you're going to have processed stuff, enjoy what you're doing, but be mindful of everything that you're doing. Yes, it will be available. The video will be available. All right, so we're coming to a close, and is there anything, let's start with you first, Gretchen. Is there anything that you'd like to share just on an end note with everyone?
Okay, what I'd say is, you've heard Carla's reaction, you've heard my reaction. There is no correct reaction to being told that you have cancer. What it is your mindset, how you process the information, and what is your outlook on life. Do you say, the why me, poor me, sit down and cry? Or do you say, okay, this has happened. How do I fix it, or can it be fixed? And if it cannot be fixed, am I going to live life to the max, to the best way, in the best way I can? And at the end of the day, I would have lived the life I loved and loved the life I lived? Or are you going to start blaming everybody else for what's happened to you? And if you sit down and cry when you're told, it's okay to cry, but don't sit and cry every day. After you have cried, get up and say, okay, I have to live. I have to move on. Love you enough to want the best for you. So if you love you enough to want the best for you, you will always do the best and not sit and wallow in self-pity.
Awesome.
Here, Gretchen.
Would you like to add something, Carla?
I don't really have anything else to add. I think we've covered my opinions, and a lot of which, even though Gretchen and I are different people, there are certain areas in which we sync, and there's certain, and I really don't have anything to add to what has already been discussed.
To come on some of the hikes with you. That's what I need to do.
I will send you.
That one has abandoned us.
I'll send you the information.
That one has abandoned us.
I love you too, Gretchen. I do love you guys so much. And I do miss you guys. And thank you guys for sharing your story. I hope it has motivated all of us. Well, it has motivated me to have a different view on life. We have been together for a while where I've seen you guys in different section of your lives. I've seen Carla before when Carla was running and doing everything and just had a zest for living, and then the cancer happened, and then she still had a zest for living. She was still smiling. Carla always has a smile on her face. Always have a smile on her face. And Gretchen, on the other hand, always have a look on her face. Like that one. And they both keep it as real as possible. And I do thank you guys for joining me on the conversation. And thank you everyone for listening and being a part of this. Thank you guys.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks. Thanks for the opportunity as well. And Carla,
yes,
we'll catch up.
We will. Okay.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.